Welcome to Solutions Rising. I'm Rachel Branch. Several years ago, we began a series about a very important office in Berkshire County, the Berkshire County Sheriff's Office. Because of the COVID pandemic, we were unable to continue that series, and I am so grateful that we are able to once again do so. So I am very pleased to welcome the Berkshire County Sheriff Thomas N. Bowler, who has been in office since 2011. Sheriff Bowler began many innovative programs in his distinguished tenure as our sheriff, and we are going to highlight those programs and the community impact, the services provided by Berkshire House of Corrections, that the Berkshire House of Corrections has had and does have in our communities under the leadership of Sheriff Bowler. It is a joy to welcome Sheriff Tom Bowler.
It's good to be back, Rachel.
It is great to be back, and you are well.
Yep, doing well.
This whole world has suffered terribly in the last couple of years.
Yes.
So as usual, I'd like to start with, particularly for people who might not have heard you talk before, talk about the Berkshire Sheriff's Office and all the programs preparing those at the House of Corrections to become productive members of our communities.
My God.
During their residency and upon release.
Let's see where
we can pick some few, and then you can come back. I mean, I know you always.
We can start. Well, first of all, obviously for the viewers watching today, our mission and our goal is to try and help create a safer, stronger, and healthier community. And we do that in a number of ways with our office. But one of the things that we deal with, obviously, is the sentenced inmate population that we have that's incarcerated at the jail. Now, we're a house of correction. We're not a state prison. We're a jail, so we have two populations. We have the pretrial population. Those are the ones that are either held on bail or on a dangerousness hearing, and they're waiting to go to trial. And then we have those who have already been to trial and now are sentenced to our facility. And you can only be sentenced to our facility on any one charge for no longer than 2.5 years. Oh. It's 2.5 years or less on any one charge. Now, we have inmates that have been there for longer than 2.5 years. For instance, a judge would determine an individual may have several charges, and he would say that on this particular charge he's getting 2.5 years, and we're going to give him 2.5 years on this other charge, which means he has to do 5 years at our facility, and which we've had some of those. Obviously, because of COVID that we've all been dealing with for the last couple of years, COVID really put a strain on the judicial system and the jails and houses of corrections because there was no movement throughout the court. So we've had guys at our facility for almost 3 or 4 years. Some of them just waiting to go to trial. So, but that sentence population. So while they're with us in our facility, what we try to do is, number one, is try to correct their behavior, and try to make them a better person when they leave our facility than when they came in. And it's a very difficult and daunting task because the majority of our inmate population are dealing with substance abuse disorders, which about 90% of my population has. And also over the recent years, mental health has joined in with that disorder, with substance abuse disorders. So we're combating both of those. Also dealing with a lack of education. These are individuals who really didn't have much guidance or structure growing up, which led them to down that negative influence that got them in our facility. So we deal with all those issues: mental health, their lack of education, their substance abuse disorders, their medical conditions. A lot of them come to us in very, very poor health. But the fortunate thing about us in the state of Massachusetts is all of these services are at our fingertips 24/7 for each and every one of these individuals, which means that we have full medical care for them 24/7, mental health care for them 24/7, education there for them at their fingertips. And then what we also have is case managers. case managers inside our facility that will assess these individuals in a number of areas and to see what their level of education is. That dictates what we need to give them for an education while they're with us. Their substance abuse disorder, their mental health capabilities. With these case managers, they then structure them, guide them in a very structured environment to prepare them to go out into the community. I've been saying this for 11 years now. One of the biggest issues or hurdles we have to overcome is when these individuals are released from our facility, a lot of them, because of the lack of structure in their life, lack of guidance or direction, they don't know how to do things on their own. They don't know how to deal with banks for checking their savings accounts. They don't know how to hold or apply for a job or sustain a job. They really don't know how to really live well to take care of themselves out in the community with housing. So with our case managers, we provide all these services to prepare them so they can be productive members in the community. And a lot of them we lose once they go back out there. They really need to have the tools and the resources to fight off that negative influence that as soon as they walk back out, that negative influence that got them in trouble in the first place is waiting for them, is going to slap them in the face as soon as they walk out. I've been proposing for many years that we need not only to have case managers on the inside, but case managers on the outside, or what I would call street workers.
You need safety nets.
Yes, these are the street workers that make sure these individuals continue and guide them and direct them down the right path. These are case managers or street workers that will help them get to their AA meetings or NA meetings, help them get to a job interview, okay, or a housing interview. Help them get, if they needed in housing, let's just say in housing they have an issue because of their charged previous charges, they can't get housing. Direct them to the right legal aid service to get them the housing that they need. And that's where we lack. And I've been trying to get our legislation to understand that so that they could fund, so I could have 4 or 5 street workers on the outside directing these people and making sure they're going in the right direction. We have to track these people.
Yes.
If you want to cut down on the recidivism rate, you got to track these people. And with these people, these street workers on the outside, we can cut down on the recidivism rate, we can cut down on the epidemic, the heroin or the opiate epidemic. Because these are the people that would make sure these guys, or these individuals, get to their counseling meetings that they need to, get to the doctors when they need to, get to their mental health clinician when they need to. It's very, very important. And what's unfortunate is a lot of these individuals who leave our facility because of the lack of guidance and structure in their lives up till this point, they don't know how to do this on their own. So you actually kind of not hold their hand, but you have to guide them and take them through the process. And we find that the more and more we do that with these individuals, the more successful they are. So this brings up a very important initiative that we just started. We just received a grant, and it's called the grant, or what our agency is going to be doing, and it's coming out of the 2nd Street facility in Pittsfield, the old 2nd Street jail.
Yes.
It's called the 2nd Street Second Chance.
Ooh.
So we've formed a 501c3 for this. We have an executive director, and we have a board of directors. And what we are going to do is on the 2nd floor in our old jail facility, we are going to have service providers available for these individuals. So instead of when we get out, you know, sometimes they would hand a person a card and say, hey, you got to go see this guy for legal aid to get your housing, or go see this realtor so he can hook you up with housing, or this is your mental health clinician, go see them. No, these people are going to be right there, one-stop shopping for these individuals. And, you know, still working out the fine details on it. But one of the good news to go along with this grant that we received, which was about $270,000 to begin with.
That's a nice start.
But we were able to apply with the city of Pittsfield for ARPA money.
I was just going to ask you
Yes.
that. And how about community block funds?
Well, we got the
some of that's
ARPA money is going to be coming to us for the next 3 years. And they've been gracious enough. Of course, you got to go through a whole application process.
Oh, gosh, yes.
And it was rigorous, and we passed. And so we're getting so many dollars for the next 3 years to help us with this program and to really help these individuals with one-stop shopping with service providers to get reintegrated back into the community in a much more guided and structured path. And we think it's going to be we think it's going to be successful. We already have a couple case managers that have been working out of the 2nd Street Jail, and they've been kind of teamed up with the Chelsea Hub model. I don't know if you ever heard the Chelsea Hub model. It
No.
originated at Chelsea, Mass.
Yeah, I figured that.
Very similar to this, what we're doing with the 2nd Street Second Chance initiative. But the Chelsea Hub model, it deals with public safety, law enforcement. It'll also deal with EMS people, fire personnel, and just other local people within the community. And basically, it's geared for those individuals that you deal with every single day, out on the street corner, okay, or out on the street. And the Chelsea Hub model is very similar to our initiative. Is the Chelsea Hub model? There's a group of individuals that are in this initiative: police, EMS, social agencies as well, and they all go together as a group to that person who's in need of service. And they stand right in front of that person and say, look, here's how we can help you. This person can do this for you. This person can do this for you. So we're putting it, I don't want to say we're shoving it down their throat, because ultimately, if they don't want our help, they're not going to take our help.
I know,
But
particularly
we have it there available for them.
particularly
And,
people with substance abuse.
yes.
You cannot do anything unless
No.
they decide.
You can provide all the services
Yeah.
you want, Rachel, to
And
someone,
that's-
and if they don't want to get help in their heart, then it's not going to happen.
It's the hardest part for families, of which
Correct.
I'm one of them.
Correct.
That's just really sad to see.
Yeah.
Now, this is a multifaceted approach, which also
is.
appears to be a model for solving
Yes.
some similar kinds of problems outside the incarceration.
And it's not so much, okay, so we're going to use the 2nd Street Second Chance initiative for inmates that are going to be released from our population, but it doesn't matter if someone comes in off the street and says, hey, I'm down on my luck, I don't want to end up back at the jail and house of correction, how can you guys help me? Absolutely, come on in, here are the service providers available to you, here's what we can do for you, and we get the process initiated.
So when they fulfill their time at the House of Corrections, they're going to know where to go, and then it's all right to call
Absolutely.
24 hours and say, I need
It
help.
it's not going to be 24 hours.
Won't be 24
but
hours.
There'll be people available all the time.
During the day.
Yes. And along with that, another initiative, really cool initiative that we're doing in the community is we have this Flex Services. It's a partnership. Berkshire Health Systems, Phelan Health, Mass Health, Community Health Plan in South County, CHP, and the Berkshire County Sheriff's Office. 5 agencies
Beautiful.
working out of the 2nd Street Jail right now, as we speak, for the last good year, almost a year and a half. What Berkshire Health Systems found, along with Phelan Health and Mass Health, is they had a number of individuals in Berkshire County that were, I don't want to use the word habitual, but they were the constant individuals that they were dealing with,
Core.
group that they were constantly dealing with on a daily basis. And when I mean that, I mean it's the people who
Same
were
people.
in the ER, in the doctor's offices all the time. So, and you get this data from your insurance companies.
Sure.
Okay? You get this data from the health system, Berkshire Health System, the provider. All this information came together, and they're saying, look, what if we took a proactive approach? What if we took these individuals that we deal with on a constant basis, a daily basis, and we got them on a wellness program? And we started dealing with their diabetes. We started dealing with any other issues that they've had, okay, health issues, medically, nutritional issues, whatever the case may be. What if we started dealing with these people and provided them with a sustainable diet okay? A sustainable food diet. So they started this initiative, and then they saw themselves growing. As they were growing, they needed another partner. So they reached out to the sheriff's office, to us, and they asked if we could assist them in doing this. Now, keep in mind, some of the people we deal with are also some of their clients. Okay, the people that we have at the facility who come back out in the community are also some of the people they were dealing with on a daily basis as well. So it only made sense that we all came together in this partnership. this
Collaboration
initiative.
is a necessity these days.
We've delivered over.
Probably for
so
a long time.
out of the 2nd Street Jail, in our basement, the old cafeteria is where we set up, we have our grocery store, so to speak. We deal with Marty's Distributor and Big Y. They deliver produce and dry storage to us on a weekly basis. It's stored downstairs. We have a number of people between the Berkshire Health Systems and retirees from the sheriff's office that through grant money that we receive for this, we pay them to store, stack all the groceries, load them up in containers for the people, and then we deliver them. Along with that is we took the nutritionist from Berkshire Health Systems and our nutritionist, actually it's the same person for the jail, and we came up with what they called MTMs, medically tailored meals. Okay?
Beautiful.
These meals are medically tailored for certain individuals in our county, okay, to help them with their diet, help them with their diabetes, help them with their wellness, to keep them on track because they just couldn't do it for themselves. So our inmates and my staff at the jail cook these medically tailored meals on a weekly basis, freeze them, and we bring them down to the 2nd Street Jail where they then get distributed from Clarksburg to Sheffield.
It's fantastic. Does the hydroponics program, how did COVID affect that? And is that still part of the community?
It is.
Part of producing
It is. The
your
aquaponics.
lettuce and what else?
I guess for the viewers, we'll tell them today that
Yes.
the other initiative we've had started up in the last 2 years, and unfortunately, we were ready to do the opening right when COVID hit.
Yes.
So we had to put the opening of the aquaponics hydroponic program off for a little bit. But that is just flourishing. It is just, it's going like crazy. So we can grow, for the viewers, we can grow 2,400 heads of lettuce. We have about 3 or 4 different types of lettuce that we're growing in water. And this water is fertilized by tilapia fish. So in our greenhouse, we have 4 1,000-gallon tanks. And there's anywhere from 150 to 300 fish in these tanks, tilapia fish. And for lack of better words, their fish poop is the fertilizer. And that fertilizer, or that fertilization process, it goes through a filtering system. And our filtering system extracts all the good nutrients and nitrates from that fertilizer and then pumps it into our grow beds. So we have 2 big grow beds that are about 18 inches deep with water in them. And we have styrofoam platforms that lay on top of the water. And in those, I can't remember how many each 2x4 square styrofoam platform holds, but there's a series of squares. Each one of those pods has a seedling for a head of lettuce.
Well, I think this
and the
was
roots grow down into the water that's fertilized by that water from the tilapia fish.
I think this was the last program you and I were able to do.
Yeah.
So people can go back to Solutions Rising
and they can talk
webcast
about
NBCTC and see that whole program. That was fascinating.
But since then,
Connecting.
we have, so there's 30 towns and 2 cities in Berkshire County, 900 square miles. We range from Connecticut, or from Vermont to Connecticut, and obviously the whole western side of the Berkshire County borders New York. Every town in both cities in Berkshire County have been a recipient of our heads of lettuce.
Oh, my goodness.
We have donated almost, if not over, 200,000 heads of lettuce back into the communities, each one of these communities.
Wow. That is just incredible.
Now,
does any of that go into the program for the Second Street, Second
well,
Chance?
Not yet.
Not yet, but it will.
It will.
Be incorporated into
We
it?
have, obviously we harvest roughly about 250 heads of lettuce a week that go right back into the jail in House of Correction for the inmates, which is good because the inmates are the ones growing it, okay? The inmates are the ones out there learning. We have a whole STEM curriculum surrounding the growing of the lettuce. It's the science, technology, engineering, and math. It's very complicated. They're understanding different pH levels. They're understanding and learning about the fish. They're understanding and learning about agriculture. They're learning about the different types of lettuce or the different types of vegetables that we could grow in this facility. And they're using computers. They're using journals. They're calculating on a daily basis. They have to calculate how many fish are in each one of the tanks, the whole 9 yards. So it's a great program. So these guys go out and they work every day in the greenhouse. They start from a little seed that gets planted in this styrofoam, in this little pod, and 45 days later, they have a full-grown, beautifully organic, germ-free head of lettuce.
And it's organic too, which is so healthy for
and
the world.
What they've produced in 45 days now goes back in to feed their fellow colleagues or the people that are incarcerated with them, and it gives them, it's building their self-esteem.
Yep. Purpose, value,
yes, purpose,
meaning.
value, meaning, everything.
Skills. Yeah.
And they'll sit there, they come out, of course, they'll make their sandwich for the day before they leave. When they're in the facility, they'll have their sandwiches, and they go out, let's just say it's a ham and cheese, turkey and cheese sandwich that they have out for lunch, or bologna and cheese, whatever. They take the lettuce right out of the thing, put it right on their sandwich, and so they're getting it as well. Not only inside, but they're getting out there while they're working as well. So it's a great program. We just recently, because we built this, it was about $600,000 to build this facility, and we did that with private money.
I know you did.
We had, through the 501c3, the Berkshire Educational Correctional, we had, we raised the money for this. Our goal was, because we knew sustainability down the road was going to be difficult, you can only go back to the donor so many times. So we asked the legislators. We had the open house. All the legislators from Berkshire County, our delegation.
I was wondering if you were going to do that.
They came.
Yeah.
Lieutenant Governor and the Governor, Karen Polito and Governor Baker came out as well, saw the program. We asked them for $150,000 each year to help sustain this inmate program to keep it going. And it passed the governor's budget, it passed the House budget, and it passed the Senate budget.
Doesn't surprise me at all.
So it looks like we're going to get, this year, we have some sustainability.
Closer to the end, which means you have to come back.
We're already winding down.
There.
Oh, gosh.
Is there final thoughts that you want to talk about? And then, of course, we'll set up another show if you want.
I'll definitely come back, yeah.
Yes, of course. But it's just incredible the work that you've done, the innovation and the necessity for it.
Absolutely.
The necessity is so important.
The other thing that, since we've talked, Rachel, really quick, medically assisted treatment, Vivitrol, Suboxone, Methadone. I was never really a big proponent of those, okay? I was always with abstinence, getting people off of these drugs and keeping them off of it. But I went to a Learn to Cope meeting one day, a couple times, several times, and meeting with the families there who tell me that if it wasn't for methadone or if it wasn't for Suboxone, being administered either through the clinics or through their doctor, their son, daughter, brother, sister, grandchild, whatever, would be dead today. I started thinking about that, and it started to resonate. I can't argue with those parents, right? I can't, even though I would like to see people off of this stuff and not be dependent on anything.
Me too.
There are people and times where you need to have this assistance, this medically assisted treatment. And it saves lives. It does.
It's knowing how to use them and where the medical procedures are demanded, and not as a constant resource.
But my goal is, yes, use this, but at the same token, is there a light at the end of the tunnel where these people don't have to be on anything anymore? Yeah. So if it's 3 or 5 years down the road, get them completely off the stuff. We applied for a grant we applied for a grant. Several sheriffs have done this already. There's a pilot program, and we had to apply through the DPH, Department of Public Health, to get a license to be able to administer methadone. You have to have a license to do that.
Yeah.
So we went through the rigorous process of getting that license. We were awarded the license through DPH. So now in our facility right now, we can provide Vivitrol, which is the blocker for any opiate, Vivitrol, Suboxone, and methadone.
That's fantastic.
And we work with Spectrum. They come down and they administer at our facility early in the morning the methadone, and then we do the Suboxone in-house. But that's another program in the last couple of years since COVID that we've also initiated to help with the medically assisted treatment, those individuals that are on our MATs.
I do want to encourage people to go to your website and learn more about the programs, but you know, you and I can never have an all-encompassing conversation. It's just not possible. You and your staff should be so proud of the innovations that you have done for Berkshire County and for our community.
Rachel, I am one of the luckiest guys in Berkshire County because we are able to accomplish so much, okay, for a variety of facets or individuals throughout the community, because of the individuals who work with me at my jail. They are some of the most incredibly talented people I have ever met, and it's a joy to go to work every single day, which I just about do every single day. I'm at that facility, and they are just a fantastic group of people. When you have people who share your vision and share your passion, it makes things a whole lot easier.
And I have met your staff, and you know, I was really impressed. I've never had a tour, but of course you must come back. See, I'm going to jump ahead of you because you usually tell me about that you're coming back. I'm going to get you first and say, yes,
Definitely.
I really want you to come back and continue exploring this. And if people want to contribute, there'll be ways to contribute to Second Chance.
Oh, Second Chance,
Yeah.
Second Street, Second
Coming up.
Chance? I don't know. We got like 45
We'll
seconds
talk about that the next time,
yeah.
but you can check your website for that.
Perfect.
And thank you so much.
Thanks
Chair.
for having me. I'll come up anytime, you know
Berkshire County Sheriff Thomas N. Bowler. I'm just filled with gratitude. And if each one of us picked up one problem and solved it, imagine the incredible view we would all have of solutions rising. Be part of the solution.